this is Champorado. Now, Champorado is a beautiful, beautiful chocolate rice dish that Filipinos love. Now, any other culture would have created this dish and went, wow, what a delicious dessert. Let's have that after dinner. Yum, yum, yum. Not us, okay? We made that and said, give me that shit at 7:30 in the morning. That's breakfast right now. Hey, what is up, Melbourne? My name is James. I'm Filipino. Any other Filipinos in the house? Make some noise! Oh, look at you guys on time. All right. Wow. That's a flex. Whoa. Okay. I love how proud you guys were when I said Filipinos make some noise, man. I'm proud to be fucking Pinoy, you know what I mean? I'm proud because I think Filipinos are wonderfully weird in the best way possible. Okay, I mean that as a compliment, okay? We're creative, we think outside of the box, we do not care what you say, we will do what we want. And I think the biggest proof of this is I think Filipinos have the best superstitions in the world. We do, because non-Filipinos in here, I don't know if you've met many Filipino people before or ever been to a hospital, but we're like We're really polite, hospitable people. We're giving, right? We'll give you the shirt off our own backs to make sure you're comfortable all the time. And I think that's beautiful. And that means all our superstitions, really polite as well. Really nice. This is true. In the Philippines, if you want to pee in a bush, before you pee in the bush, you have to say, tabi tabi po, right? Which translates to, excuse me, please. And you're saying that in case there's little elves living in the bush. Isn't that sweet? That's so beautiful and polite, you know? I mean, we still piss on their house. But we give them a heads up, you know? I think that's gorgeous. I will give you this. I think it does make us look a little bit crazy, though. You know what I mean? Like you, man, down here, imagine if you were walking past a guy at a park in the middle of the night facing away from you, standing in front of a bush, and out of nowhere he just goes, excuse me, please. Thank you. You'd be like, call the police. Another superstition I really love in the Philippines is when you go into someone's house for the first time, you've never been before, right? You're supposed to yell out, tao po, right? And that translates to, I'm human, okay? That's true. And you're saying that in case the person who lives in the house is scared that you're an evil spirit, right? And so you're saying, hey, I come in peace, I'm not going to harm you. And I think, again, that's beautiful. That's gorgeous, you know? So polite. Here's the thing with that, though. I'm human is exactly what an evil spirit would say. Like if your husband came home one day and just went, I'm faithful. He'd be like, where the fuck were you 5 minutes ago? Some superstitions are family specific though, like only certain families practice them. Like for example, my family, our thing was we didn't eat eels, right? No eels for my family. And the reason we didn't eat eels is because hundreds and hundreds of years ago, one of my ancestors and my mum's side of the family was fishing in the middle of a giant lake, right? And halfway through fishing, his boat sprung a leak and started to sink. And he was freaking out because he didn't know how to swim. He's like, oh my God, what am I going to do? But then eventually an eel swam into the hole and plugged the hole and saved his life, right? And so our family went, we are never eating eels ever again. Isn't that beautiful? We have this connection with nature and this higher power. I think that's gorgeous, you know? I will say, I do think it's funny that that's what we took away from that story, though. You know, surely it should have been book fucking swimming lessons. But instead our family went, thank you eels, we will never eat you ever again. Thank you, arigatou gozaimasu. You know, like it's like... For me, I love the eel thing because I think the eel thing makes me a little bit mysterious, you know? Adds a little bit mystique to my character. Like now whenever I go to a wedding and they're like, hey, do you have any dietary requirements? I can be like, no eels. And if they're like, allergic? I'm like, family curse. They're like, that guy's mysterious as fuck. But it's great, man. Filipinos, bro, wonderfully weird in the best way possible. In fact, let me prove to you my point, okay? Here's another reason we are. So this is Champorado. Now, Champorado is a beautiful, beautiful chocolate rice dish that Filipinos love. Right. Now, any other culture would have created this dish and went, wow, what a delicious dessert. Let's have that after dinner. Yum, yum, yum. Okay, not us. Okay, we made that and said, give me that shit at 7:30 in the morning. That's breakfast right now. And now, ma'am, down here, what was your name, sir? Kate and And Bruce, have you guys ever heard of Champorado before? You've never heard of it before? Okay, now, Kate, I'll ask you, Kate. Kate, I'm going to ask you a question about Champorado just to prove my point that we're wonderfully weird. Is that all right? Super easy. All right, and if Filipinos, if you know the answer, don't fucking say the... I can see one tita going, I'm going to say it, don't. Now, Kate, what topping do you think we put on top of Champorado? Is it A, brown sugar, B, toasted almonds, or C, coconut flakes? Coconut flakes, final answer? All right, lock it in. All right, and the answer is dried fish. I fucking love this dish. I love all the progressive white people in here being like, yummy. Wow, I'm gonna try that later. Sure you are. Look, I'll give you this, okay, Kate? It's a little weird, all right? It is a little strange, the combination. But let me defend this dish. Let me tell you why this is a perfect dish, okay? First of all, my parents used to make this for me all the time, okay? So every time I eat it now, it makes me feel very warm inside, right? Makes me miss my parents and think about them, okay? And B, this is also a perfect blend of sweet and salty, right? Together. The two flavors come on your tongue, do a little dance. It's gorgeous, okay? And I know why people have salted caramel popcorn. Like, we see that and laugh in your fucking face, okay? We have chocolate fish. Now, Kate, I'm really sorry that I tricked you. No, genuinely, I feel really bad that I do that to someone in the show. So bad that I added another question in the show that's super easy so you can get it right and we can give you a round of applause. Does that sound good? Can you please? Okay, thank you. I'm that much of a people pleaser. I'm so sorry. Okay, now, Kate, this is palitao. Now, palitao is a rice cake that's covered in shredded coconut, right? It's a dessert. We love this dish. Now, Kate, knowing the information I just gave you, what do you think we dip the palitao into? Is it A, sugar, B, caramel, or C, fish sauce? Fish sauce? Final answer? All right, good choice. It's really easy. Okay, final answer? Okay, lock it in. All right, and the answer is sugar, Kate. What the fuck? Why would you make assumptions about my culture like that? That's kind of fucked up, man. Oh, we all just eat fish sauce, huh? Yum, 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 fish sauce. That's crazy, Kate. These people are nice people. Like, look at them. I'm just kidding, Kate. Thank you so much. Give it up for Kate, everybody. Thank you for coming. So that's Champorado. And now some of you guys might be going, why is the show called Champorado then? Why is that the title of the show? And the show's called Champorado because 2 years ago, I was eating a bowl of Champorado in Toronto back home, and I was having breakfast, and I got a message from my mum, right? And the message said, they just found cancer in your dad's colon, right? Bang, right there. And I remember getting that message and just feeling so overwhelmed. I was like, fuck, that's such an intense message to get. How do I process this, you know? But then the next message was her going, but don't worry, they found it early, so they can cut it out, but he needs surgery right away. And a funny thing happens when you get a message like that from your mum, you know? Because all of a sudden, all the shit I was worried about for the rest of the day didn't matter anymore, right? I didn't care. All I wanted was my dad to be okay. So what I did, what any of you guys would have done, I got on a plane and I flew here to Melbourne, where they lived. Right? And I spent the next month in Melbourne when my dad recovered from a surgery. And I remember sitting on the plane going, well, fuck, if none of that stuff mattered that day, then what actually matters? You know, what should I actually give a fuck about at this point in my life? I remember when I landed here in Melbourne and I saw my dad, the first thing my dad said to me was, oh, James, how's your comedy shows going? Right? And I was like, is that it? Is it success? Is that what I should care about? Because I've had my fair share of successes in my career, you know? Like back in New Zealand, I was one of the judges in our version of The Masked Singer, right? Thank you. No, it's fine. It's fine. 2 seasons cancelled straight away. It was a bad show. It was bad. But I was. Regardless if it was bad, I was one of the judges, you know? And if you don't know what The Masked Singer was, it's that TV show. I think you guys had one here in Australia too, right? For those of you who don't know, it's that TV show. You take a bunch of celebrities, right? You put them in mascot costume disguises. You hide them. And each week, the celebrities sing a song, right? And in a panel of 4 celebrity judges have to try to guess which celebrity is hiding under which mask, okay? And I was one of the judges. Now, here's the problem with that. New Zealand only has 4 celebrities. So every week in the show was me going, are you Lord? Nope. Are you Taika Waititi? Nope. Are you Flight of the Conchords? Nope. Well then fuck, I'm out. Every week. Like, it didn't make sense to make that show in that country, you know? That's like if you made a show called World's Safest Schools USA. You know, like, what are we... Or like Queer Eye, Russia. Like, what are we doing? But it was hard. It was hard being a judge on The Masked Singer in New Zealand, bro. It was. The hardest part of the job was every time one of the celebrities would unmask, you had to act really happy and surprised to see the celebrity, right? No matter who it was. And in America, that's easy to do, right? In America, they unmask and you're like, oh, fuck, it's T-Pain, you know? Or they unmask and you're like, no shit, Rudy Giuliani. You know, like it's... That actually happened in the American one. But in New Zealand, whenever they would unmask, one of three things would happen, right? One of three things. Either A, they would unmask, and I would know the person personally, right? They'd unmask and I'd be like, Dad? You know, like, Papa? Or B, they would unmask, and it would be way too easy to guess who the person was. Like, as in everyone watching at home would have known exactly who it was as soon as they started singing, but because the producer was like, it's reality TV, James, stretch the drama, pretend you don't know. So I just had to act like a fucking idiot and have to be like, oh, I don't know who that is. Like, despite everyone at home knowing who it is already. And like, there's a lot of acting involved, all right, being a judge on The Masked Singer in New Zealand. In fact, let me show you my best and maybe worst performance as a judge on The Masked Singer. I used to see that lady at the mall all the time. Shout out Susie Cato from New Zealand. But the third thing that would happen, and this might be the worst one, the third thing that would happen whenever they would unmask, is they would unmask, and I would have no idea who the fuck the celebrity was. And because it's like a TV show, the producer would be right there being like, come on, James, energy, let's go, party, right? Like the New Zealand version of The Masked Singer is the only version of that show where the guessing game was harder without the costumes on. Because they would unmask and I'd be like, oh my, what do I do? I did that thing. You know when you bump into someone from your old high school and they remember you, but you don't remember them? So you have to do that awkward kind of dance, that vague dance where you're like, oh my God, hi. Wow. Yeah, I remember you. Yeah, with the two eyes and a backpack full of books, you know, like... I did that on national TV, bro. I felt like an idiot. Like, I remember the worst day, this woman in mask, and apparently she was like a really famous actor in New Zealand in the 90s, right? But that was before I moved there. I didn't know who the fuck this lady was. So she unmasked, and I was like, oh no, I don't know who that is, right? So I just did that thing, the awkward dance. She unmasked, and I was like, whoa, you're alive, you know? Like, it's, wow. And it annoyed me because I was like, I wish they would have just let me react how I wanted to react. That would have made for way more interesting TV. Imagine that. She unmasks, the three other judges stand up and go, whoa, no way, it's you. And I just stand up and I go, yo, who the fuck is that? Just ratings, you know? At one point in the reveal, I was like, hey, do you mind if I take a photo for my family? They're never going to believe this. And she's like, yeah, go for it. Right. So I took a photo, sent it to my family like, does anyone know who this is? No replies. She did get the last laugh, though. She did, because at the end of the show, she was standing there after being revealed with her mascot head like that. She was thanking the crew, right? She was like, thank you guys so much for having me. And it's been such an honor to sing for the whole nation. Oh, and for our 4 celebrity judges, you know, you got Reese Darby, Lady Six, Sharon Casey, and... So it turns out I'm not one of the 4 celebrities either, but that's fine. That's fine. You know, even if I wasn't famous enough to be on that show, though, I was very proud to be on that show, you know, because I was proud to represent Filipinos in general on TV, you know, because there weren't a lot of us on TV. And fuck, there weren't a lot of Asians in general. Like, I was just proud to be an Asian, you know, because I think Asian people, we're having a moment right now. We are on film and TV. In Hollywood, bro, they're letting Asian people make their own movies now, and it's fucking great. Who would have thought, right? We're getting great films out of it. We're getting films like Shang-Chi, right? Everything Everywhere All at Once, Turning Red, Crazy Rich Asians. All amazing, really successful films. Though I will say, if you do think about it, I feel like every Asian Hollywood movie is secretly about the same thing. Imagining a world where Asian parents say sorry. Dude, every movie set is actually about that. It's actually a new genre. It's called Asian Millennial Fantasy. And I know some of you are going, oh, James, that's already a genre. It's called fantasy. That already exists. No. This is different, okay? Because white millennial fantasy is like, ooh, I wonder what house the sorting hat's going to put me in at Hogwarts. Wow, broomsticks, magic. But Asian millennial fantasy is like, son, I thought about what you said, and you're right. And also, you're not fat. You know, like, it's like... Have all the Asian people in here, a single tear falling down your faces. You're like, that's my life. Dude, every Asian person my age has the same fucking fantasy, bro. We just want to see our parents say sorry to us, right? Right? You're like, uh-huh. It's true. That's why every time they make one of these movies, they make $1 billion, bro. They do. Every time they make one of these movies, we all just line up and go, hello, one ticket to My Parents Don't Think Mental Health is Real, please, every time. That's a real movie, by the way. And look, I can see there's already some Asian parents in here being like, that's not true. I feel bad. I feel remorse, right? Okay, look, I'll give you this, Asian parents in the room. Of course you feel remorse, okay? You're a human being. That makes sense. But I will say that remorse never translates into a full-blown apology. Like, you just don't have it. I don't know why. Like, I remember one time I had a full screaming match with my mum, full back-and-forth fight, right? 2 hours later, she felt bad. She knew she was in the wrong. So she came into my room to try to apologize. And the best she could muster was, James, I'm come eat. You know, that's all you're gonna get is come eat. And my family, we weren't affectionate growing up anyway. You know, we never said I'm sorry to each other. Fuck, we never even said I love you to one another growing up until we were adults, you know. I remember when I was a kid, I went up to my dad. I was like, Dad, how come we don't say I love you to one another like all my friends at school and with their families? And my dad was like, because James, we don't need to tell you we love you. We show you we love you by making sure you have a roof over your head. Yeah? Yeah? We don't tell, we show. We don't tell, we show. And I remember hearing that as a kid and going, do you think you can't do both? You can do both of those things. That means if I was having dinner with both my parents and I was like, Mom, Dad, I love you. And they both went, we love you too, son. That they would then open the front door and be like, you made your choice. Take a jacket with you. Get the fuck out of here. It's cold. That's why if I have kids now, I want to be different. Okay, I made a promise to myself. I'm going to break the cycle. Okay, I'm going to be affectionate to my children. I'm going to say the right words. I'm going to say I love you. But now, whenever I think about that, I always have a new fear unlocked in my brain because now I'm really scared that I'm going to correct too hard the other way. You know, that I'm going to adjust too hard the other. Like what I'm trying to say is like I'm scared I'm going to become one of those parents that like is way too supportive to their children to the point that you're suffocating and embarrassing the child. You know what I mean? Like basically what I'm saying is I'm scared my son's going to come out as gay to me and I'm going to be like, yo, let me help you find some dick. You know, like it's like just slide a phone over. Darren, doctor, 1 kilometer. What do you think? I'll drop you off right now. Let's get this dick, son. Yeah. You know, like. Rein it in, Dad. Look, I'm getting distracted, but what I'm trying to say is I don't think success matters that much. It does. I don't think it matters that much, success, you know? I don't think I'm going to be on my deathbed, and I don't think I'm going to be like, I was on The Masked Singer. Like, who gives a fuck, you know? So I went, okay, well, if it's not success, then what is it? What matters? Is it being a good person, right? Maybe that's it. I think that's pretty good, right? Being a good person, that's important. But then what does that look like, though, being a good person in 2025? Because I feel like a lot of people's ideas of being a good person is like going on the internet now and like calling people out for being problematic, you know? Just being like, fuck you, I can't believe you said that, problematic. And don't get me wrong, I think it's good to hold people accountable when we need to, but it rubs me the wrong way sometimes. I feel like a lot of people act like they've never done anything wrong in their lives, you know? And in fact, I actually think we're all capable of having problematic thoughts in our brain. And it's actually how you deal with those thoughts that dictates whether or not you're a good person, right? And I'll prove my point. I'll do a little social experiment with you guys. Okay, here we go. I'm going to ask you guys a question. But before we do, I'm just going to remind you all that you're amongst friends, okay? There's no judgment here, okay? So just be brutally honest with me. Just be honest, okay? Loosen up your asshole. I can feel everyone. You're amongst friends, no judgment. I'm going to count down from 3, and I want you to give me a clap if you have the occasional problematic thought in your head that you have to shoo away because you're a good person, right? Occasionally. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, thank you, right? Fuck, imagine if you're the only one that clapped. I would be like, there he is, get him, But it's true, man. And look, I can see a lot of people are still shy to do it. If it makes you feel better, I'll share with you my biggest problematic thought, okay? So, in the Philippines, we have this dessert called leche flan, okay? Now, leche flan is a caramel custard dessert, right, with a burnt layer of caramel on top. It's really delicious. And it was brought over to the Philippines by Spain when Spain colonized us for 333 years. Now, every time I eat leche flan, my first thought is always, shit, maybe it was worth it. And I know that's bad. And I know all our country's problems stem from colonization, and years of generational trauma is not going to be undone by a single dessert. But for some reason, as soon as I taste that burnt caramel, I'm like, gracias, Senor Magellan. I know some of you looking at me like, James, that's fucked up, bro. How could you think that colonization's evil continues to oppress indigenous people back home? Yeah, easy for you to say. You've never had my Tita Helen's leche flan before, okay? It's velvety. And I hate that I have that thought. I do, but I have to be honest with myself. It does come, and I have to fucking shoo it away, you know? Like, recently I was at a dinner party. I was sitting across the table from this girl, and she's like, what about you, James? What's your guilty pleasure? Mine's The Bachelor. And I had to be like, oh, that's cool. Mine's a dessert so good I forgive my colonizers and forget everything I stand for. And she was like, and I was like, oh, sorry, Carly Rae Jepsen. It's not you. I don't know. I think the internet has just ruined being a good person anyway, you know. I think it has. I think the internet has given people who think they're good people permission to behave badly online. Because I feel like the internet makes sure that you don't see how you affect other people whenever you send comments, you know what I mean? And this happens to me all the time. Like whenever I post a video of my stand-up, someone will always comment the meanest shit in the world in the comments. Like, I got this comment the other day. The comment said, "You ain't funny," right? A classic, you know what I mean? A fucking banger, right? And when I saw this, it fucked me off so much, bro. But not because of the content. You know, I'm very secure in who I am and my abilities. But because of the gap between the Y and exclamation mark, I'm like, how do you even read that? You know what I mean? I'm like, you ain't funny. So when I saw this, I went, you know what? I bet you if I click on this person's profile, the energy of the profile is not going to match the energy of the comment, right? Because on the internet, your profile is your aspirational self. It's who you're trying to be, right? But your comment is who you actually are. It's your actions, okay? So your profile will say things like, Corinthians 2:12, love thy neighbor. And then the comment would be like, kill yourself. You're like, how is that the same person? So I clicked on this person's profile, and lo and behold, the profile said, don't just aspire to make a living, aspire to make a difference. And again, when I saw this, it fucked me off so much, but not because of the content, but because of the gap between the G. So I saw this, and I went, okay, well, this person clearly thinks they're a good person. They're trying to be good. What would happen if I showed them, hey, there's actually a human being on the other side of that comment? You know, what would happen if I didn't fight back with them and I was nice, you know, and I met them with kindness? Well, I wonder what would happen. And so I said, damn, you're right. Thanks for showing me the way, bro. Love you. Right. Now, was this sarcastic? You decide. So I said that, and he said, my honest opinion, bro, keep doing you. Which is so confusing. And also, are you fucking kidding me right now? You're joking. And this fucked me off because I'm like, bro, not only are you confusing me because you're sending mixed messages, you're also wasting my time because we're having this huge thread. Just make your first comment confusing. Just to save us both the trouble, you know? Make your first comment, you ain't funny, but keep doing you. You know what I mean? And I know that never gets a reaction, and it's because it's not accurate. There you go. Like, it's like... The internet's just wild, bro. I get some wild comments on there. I got a comment the other day, and this might be the craziest one. So this comment said that the West was superior to the East because the West invented everything and then gave it to the East. Hence, the West is superior, right? Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, no. No, that's bullshit. Superior to the East. That's fucking bullshit. You know how I know it's bullshit? I know for a fact it's fucking bullshit. Here's how I know. Because in the East and Asia, when people take a shit, what do they use to clean their assholes? Okay, water. Okay, smart, effective, logical, right? In the West, what do we use here to clean our assholes? Dry toilet paper. That's the superior culture? Fucking smushing it around. Oh, fuck, I've lost all the white people. This whole row looking at me like, I'm James, fuck you. No, toilet paper works. It does. So what was your name again, brother? Bruce, can I ask you a question? Genuine question, all right, Bruce? Bruce, if you went home tonight, Bruce... If you went home tonight and dropped the cake on your shaggy carpet, would you ever just use dry toilet paper to clean it up?
Most likely not.
No? So why is it good enough for your asshole, Bruce? You know what's wild, Bruce? I asked this question to a very lovely old white dude in Edinburgh, Scotland. Lovely guy. I was like, would you ever just use dry toilet paper? And he's like, nope. And I was like, exactly. But before I could move on, he just looked at me and he went, though, in fairness, if I did drop a cake on my carpet, my dog usually licks it up. And I was like, what do you do at home, brother? And look, I can see some of you still not on board with the case. Look, okay, some of you are looking at me like, well, what about bidets, James? What about bidets, right? That's Western, that's French. Je m'appelle bidet, you know, dude. Bruce, when was the last time you used a bidet? 3 months ago? Exactly, 2% from the shit this morning, still in your asshole right now, Bruce. But it's me and you, we're crusty boys, bro. Bruce, you know in Asia when people walk, they make a sound? This is true. Did you know this? No. Yeah, in Asia when people walk, they walk like this. Squeak, squeak, squeak. Do you know why, Bruce? Because they have clean assholes, Bruce. When people walk in Asia, it sounds like 10 guys playing basketball on a hardwood floor. Just and I can tell some of you still not on board with this. Let me put it to you this way. When the world went into lockdown, which one of those two cultures panicked because they couldn't wipe their ass anymore? Do you think there were children in the Philippines watching Westerners panic buying toilet paper on their phones, being like, Mommy, look, they're so superior, puta ng shit. You know, like, what? Superior culture. Not superior. Different, but not superior, you know? But yeah, man, the internet's just scary, man. It's a scary place, right? You scared of the internet, Bruce? No? You're not scared at all?
Hasn't beat me up once.
Hasn't beat you up once? Does nothing on the internet scares you at all? You're like, I am the dark web. Do you know who I am? I run 8chan. Internet scares me, bro. It does. I've done the show everywhere. I'm always like, what scares you on the internet? And they're always like, hackers. And I'm like, what scares you on the internet? And they're like, the dark web. And I'm like, do you know what scares me on the internet? I keep getting sponsored ads for Viagra, and I don't know why. It's true, and I know that sounds like I'm doing a joke. You're like, oh, what a funny bit. No, it's true. Dude, I screenshotted my entire Facebook feed for a week, and I got so many fucking ads. Bro, it is relentless, man. It was so nuts. Like, honestly, I'll just go on Facebook, and I'll be like, ooh, I wonder what my nephew's up to. And Facebook's like, get hard now. And I'm like, shut I'm like, what's up with you, Facebook? And Facebook's like, I know what's not up. And I'm like, shut up. It's bad. I know how it works, okay? Because usually how it works is your phone will give you ads based off what you've been looking at on the internet, right? And I genuinely have not been searching for dick pills online, okay? And I know that sounds like someone who has been searching for dick pills online, but I swear to God, I have not been searching for dick pills online, okay? And I know my phone just heard me say dick pills online 3 times, so this is only gonna get worse from here. From me and you guys, enjoy all your ads on your phones. Dick pills online. What was your name again? Bruce. Dick pills online, Bruce. Dick pills online, Bruce. Dick pills online, Bruce. Free delivery. Dick pills online, Bruce. Big dick. Free delivery. I got you, Kate. Let's go. No, it's crazy. I said this to a friend of mine. I was like, dude, what do you think's happening with this dick pill thing? It's pretty crazy, right? And he's like, bro, don't worry about it. It's because you're watching porn on your phone, and the phone is giving you ads based off the porn you're watching. And I was like, what? No, I'm pretty sure that's not how it works, right? And even if it was how it works, the porn I'm watching is just regular porn, you know? I'm not watching like Lucky Guy Disappoints Brunette, you know? I'm not watching like Hot Blonde Goes for a Ride briefly, like a little bit. It's just standard stuff. Look, what I'm trying to say is I don't think being a good person is that important. No, I do think it's important, but I think that we're never going to be perfect, right? We're all imperfect as people, so I don't know if it should be at the very top of my priority list. And I went, what is it then? What is it? What should I be prioritizing? And I remember one day in Melbourne, I was here and I was watching my dad make lunch for me. In fact, he was actually teaching me how to make Cherished, right? My favorite Filipino dish, right? So I was watching him and I just remember going, I think this is it. I think this is what matters, you know, spending time with my family. Because I love my family, man. I love them so much. I miss them. We're spread out all over the world now. And we grew up such a tight unit, so that's hard. So I grew up with my 2 parents and my 3 sisters. I loved being an only boy, man. I did. I feel like I learned so much having 3 sisters. I really did. Like, for example, I learned so much about women's health issues. So that means I'm more empathetic towards them, you know? Like, I'm not one of those dudes, you know those adult men who grew up and they're like, ooh, yuck, periods, bleh. Like, I'm not like that, you know? Like, I'm not grossed out by periods, right? Because I grew up with my 3 sisters and we all synced up. You know, like, it's like... It's fine. I also learned how to be comfortable around women, having three sisters, which meant that when I was like hitting on girls at bars, it wasn't weird. I was comfortable, and I learned that having three sisters. Like I remember when I was single, I'd go up to a cute girl at a bar and I'd be like, "Hey, Mom says it's my turn on the computer." Works every time, you know what I mean? Well, yeah. I love my sisters. I love my parents. My parents are great, man. My favorite thing about my parents is I feel like they encapsulate everything that I was talking about earlier, that Filipinos are wonderfully weird in the best way possible, because my parents do not give a fuck what anyone thinks. They will do whatever they want. They will march to the beat of their own drum, and I think that's beautiful, and I admire them for that, Like recently, they celebrated their 40th wedding anniversary, right? And to do that, they had a vow renewal ceremony in Queenstown, New Zealand, right? I don't know if any of you guys have ever had a destination vow renewal ceremony. But it was beautiful, right? You guys are like, on paper, wow, that's so beautiful. What a beautiful way to express your love for each other. That's gorgeous. Yeah, on paper, until I tell you that that's the sixth time that they've done it. Like, that's... like, my parents' marriage is like Netflix, when you fall asleep, and it's like, are you still there? And my dad's like, yeah. Another thing that my parents do that I really love is how they use technology, right? Because my parents aren't like the stereotype of boomers, right? You know the stereotype that they're dumb, they don't know what to do. No, they're smart, they're savvy, but they use it in weird ways, very creative ways, right? Let me explain to you my favorite one. So I remember a couple years ago, we were visiting my sister in the UK and her family there. And I walked past my dad in the kitchen, right? Glued to his phone like this, right? He was just like watching like that, eating nuts, right? He was watching. And I was like, what's going on there, right? So I went up to Mum. I was like, Mum, what's he watching on there? And Mum was like, hey, don't worry about him. He's just watching his shows, right? And I was like, oh, I want to know what the show is. That looks amazing. I want to get engrossed like he is, right? So I went up to my dad. I was like, psst, Dad, psst, what are you watching? And he turned around and showed me, and he was just watching the outdoor security camera from their house. Like he was watching that shit like it was Game of Thrones. At one point he started laughing. He's like, I was like, what's so funny? He's like, it's raining. What the fuck? Another thing that I really love that they do is how they use their Amazon Alexa in the house. Amazon Alexa, that little machine that you put in your house so Jeff Bezos spies on your family, Apparently, according to my sister, because my parents live here alone, it's just the two of them, but whenever she visits, she's noticed something. And apparently, whenever they're fighting and they don't want to talk to each other, but they still have to talk to each other, what they'll do is they will talk to each other through the Alexa. Like, in high school when you have a friend and you're beefing, but you still have to tell them something, so you get a third person to be like, hey, tell Rebecca she's a bitch, like that? But Alexa is the third friend, right? So my mama will pass Alexa being like, Alexa, tell my husband to stop being grumpy, right? And my dad would be like, Alexa, tell my wife to stop being naggy, right? And Alexa will be like, here are search results for marriage counseling. It's... Oh, thanks for keeping the love alive, Alexa. But my absolute favorite thing that my parents do when it comes to technology is how they use Facebook, right? Because my parents have a joint Facebook account. Yeah, did you hear that laughter of recognition from all the Filipino couples in the room that do the same thing? Now, the name of the account is a combination of the first letters of both their names and in the name of our family dog, right? Now, I'm not going to out my parents and tell you what the real name of the account is because you are definitely going to look them up. So I don't want to... in the dark web. So for the sake of this next bit, the name of the account is A.K. Bowie. Now, A.K. Bowie has a profile photo of Bowie, our family dog, right? A little Shih Tzu poodle, right? Beautiful. Now, A.K. Bowie's also in a group chat with me and my three sisters, the Roque family chat, super active. We use it every day, okay? Now, here's the problem with that, though. Because my parents don't have their own Facebook account, if they want to message each other on Facebook, they will do it using the same account in the group chat. Which means me and my sisters are in a group chat with this insane dog who all day is just like, do you want some eggs? And then 5 seconds later, I was like, yes, please. Just A.K. Bowie all day just being like, have you had lunch? Yes. Eating now. Don't be late. I won't. Already here. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if one day they just went, kill the fat hobbit. Yes, take back our precious. And this is fucking wild. You know what's wild? Because sometimes when they're beefing and they're fighting, they will like talk shit about the other parent as if the other parent can't read the group chat. But they can fucking read the group chat, you know? So we'll get a message being like, your dad's being annoying today. And then 5 seconds later, no, I'm not. And this is wild because it feels like you're just talking to this giant amorphous dog. Like, I don't know who I'm talking to. Occasionally they'll throw us a bone though and we'll be able to figure out. It's very easy to know who I'm talking to because we'll get a message being like, don't forget to pray in the morning. And then 5 seconds later, look at this funny video from our backyard. I think we know who the second one is. Yeah, man. Love my parents, bro. You know, another funny thing that happens when you find out one of your family members is sick is you start to go through a Rolodex of memories you have of that person who's sick. That's what I did with my dad, you know. Went through a Rolodex of memories of him. And as I was doing that, all these questions started to come up, you know. Questions like, have I done enough? Have I been a good son? You know, have I made the most of my time with him? And I remember this memory came up that I buried down a long time ago of before my parents left to move here to Australia and leave my sisters and I in New Zealand. My dad sent us all a message and it said, I feel like I'm failing you guys as a parent by leaving. I'm sorry. And I remember just going, well, fuck, like I've built this narrative in my head that they never apologize, but it's not true because he did say, I'm sorry, you know? And I just went, have I underestimated my dad this whole time, you know, and not give him the credit that he deserves? And after I did that, I plucked my favorite memory that I have of my dad from that pool. And that memory was when we used to go fishing, right? That was our thing, me and my dad. We'd pull up to a wharf and just fish all day in the afternoon. And I loved it. And it makes me so sad that we don't do that now. You know, one day we just stopped. We just got too old and we just stopped, you know. It breaks my heart. Here's a photo of me and my dad fishing. I love this photo so much. I have it on my phone. I look at it all the time. My favorite thing about this photo is how angry my dad is. Just so mad. Fucking help me! And I'm like, hello. And he's like, you're not my son. I like Pikachu, you know? Just stupid. That wasn't even the first time I did the Rolodex of memories thing, you know, because I remember 8 years ago, my mom had triple bypass heart surgery because she loves lechon. That's just for the Pinoys in the room. She did. She had triple bypass heart surgery, and I did the same thing. Rolodex of memories. Have I been a good son? Have I done enough? And then I plucked my favorite memory that I have of my mom. Okay, and I'll share that memory with you guys tonight. Okay, so this happened about maybe 12 years ago. I was visiting my parents at their family home. They were still in New Zealand at the time. And I was sitting in the living room, right, on my phone, just by myself, on Facebook, right, just swiping away. And from my parents' room, I hear like a shriek, like a Pinoy mum shriek, right? Like, you don't talk like, hey, back shit! You know, like that. It's like, so I turn around and I was like, what the fuck was that, right? And from our family room, I see our dog Bowie bolt out of the room, right? And I see my mum chasing Bowie, being like, Bowie, give it back! Bowie, give it back, right? And she does like 2 laps around the house, Bowie, just zoomies everywhere, right? In and out, super loud, okay? And I'm sitting in the living room like, what the fuck is going on back there? What's this commotion about, you know? Eventually, Bowie comes into the living room, and I see that Bowie has something in her mouth, right? And I look a bit closer, and inside Bowie's mouth is a 100 ml bottle of Durex lube. Now, I don't know if anyone in this room has ever had their family dog slut shame their mum before. But it's an interesting experience. I had so many questions when I saw that, bro. So many questions. First question, what happened in my parents' room before this happened in front of me? You know what I mean? Were my parents about to do it in the afternoon and the dog just went yoink and then ran away? And I hate that question because it begs a follow-up question. Where's my dad? Is he butt naked waiting in the room right now? What's going on? So anyway, I'm sitting there and Bowie drops the lube on the carpet and runs away. Now I'm just fucking sitting there with this lube on the carpet. Like, what the fuck do I do, right? Eventually, Mum comes barreling into the room just like this, right? Looks at me, right? And I look up at her. We both look down at the lube and then up at each other again. And then she just very calmly walks over to the lube, still looking at me, right? And then just picks it up like this. And at that point, I'm like, it's been 1,000 years since someone has said anything right now. And I could tell neither one of us wanted to say anything. We didn't, right? Because the moment you say something, you break the innocent bubble we've got, you know? The moment we said something, we go from being mother and son to two adults who use lube, you know? And I don't want that. I want to preserve what we've got, you know? So I was like, you know what? Just feign ignorance. Pretend you don't know. So I just looked at my mom and I was like, what's that? Now, here's how I know she didn't want to talk about it either. Because she just looked at me, lube still visible in her hand, made direct eye contact into my soul, and just went, what's what? Like she tried to Jedi mind trick me. This is not the lube you're looking for. You know what's crazy, bro? I just let her. I was like, nothing. And she went, good. And put it in her pocket. And left the room, right? And I'm sitting there relieved, being like, phew. And then a second later, she came back into the room and just went, come eat. You know? And it's the closest thing I ever got to a sex talk from my mom. But yeah, man. So after the month in Melbourne, I flew home to Toronto. And I remember sitting on the plane the whole time, just feeling so anxious and scared, you know? Because I was like, sure, they cut the tumor out, but I don't really know how this works. What if it grows back? I've heard that happens, you know? And I was also angry. I was mad. I was like, man, why does this keep happening to my family? You know, 8 years ago, we did this with my triple bypass heart surgery for my mom, and now my dad, like, it felt unfair that it just kept happening to my family. I was just really angry. And I remember for the next week in Toronto, I was really missing my parents, you know. I just wanted proximity to them. And so every morning what I would do was I would make myself a little bowl of Champorado, right? I'd make it on the stove, just quietly. And I would just have a little quiet moment to myself before I started any work on the couch, just eating the Champorado. And it kind of became my comfort food, you know. And I think that comfort came from something that I learned about Champorado when Esther and I traveled around Europe 2 years ago. Sorry, Esther, by the way, is my girlfriend's name. And we went to France, then we went to Portugal, then we circled back around to Spain because I wanted to look my colonizer in the eye. Just fucking every shop, just... They're like, how can I help you? I was like, I don't know, you tell me. Exclamation mark. When we were in Spain, we went to Malaga. Malaga is a beautiful city. We did one of those walking history tours, you know those tours, right? Where you walk around the city, they teach you about the history of the country while they show you the sights. Great, right? And at the start of the tour, the guy leading it was this very, very enthusiastic Spanish dude, super young, right? He loved Spanish history. He was great. At the start, he was like, so where's everyone in the group from? And people were like, Belgium, Germany, Netherlands. And I was like, the Philippines. Because I wanted to make him feel bad, you know? Because maybe he'll apologize for everything they did. Fuck yeah, you know? So eventually the tour starts teaching us about the history of Spain, right? He starts from the early history, you know, and he gets to the Spanish Inquisition, and then he gets to the 1500s, which is the century that Magellan landed in the Philippines and started the process of colonization. And I turned to Esther and I was like, here it comes. One-way ticket to Apology City, baby. And I turned back to the guy, and the guy goes... And now we flash forward to the 1800s. He fucking skipped over it. I was like, you can't do that. No, that's not fair. Like we talk about you guys back home all the time. You know, you're all over our history books. We have statues of your fucking generals. You told us to bleach our skins because you told us like brown is ugly. And what? We can't even get a shout out in your tour. We can't even get a mention of the name. Fucking, we can't even get a partial mention. We can't even get that. What the hell? Do you know what it felt like? It felt like finding out that your crazy ex that ruined your life doesn't even remember you anymore. You know what I mean? You bump into them on the street and you're like, Spain. Oh, hey, it's me, Philippines. Hello. And Spain's like, I'm sorry, who? And you're like, what? No, it's me, Philippines, remember? You moved into my house without asking me first. And when I kicked you out, you took all my stuff and left. And all you left me with was a caramel dessert and a last name no one knows how to pronounce. And Spain's like, oh, Mexico. Fuck you, Spain. At the end of the tour, the guy was like, any questions? And I was like, yeah, I've got a question. Did anything happen around the 1500s? 1521 in Mactan? Anything like that? he was like, yes, the 1500s. That was a great time for our country. We're a very powerful empire on earth. And I went, oh, it's not that you don't remember us. It's that you remember owning us as the good old days. Fuck yeah, sick. And eventually, at the end of it, he took his hat off. And he was like, okay, now this is quite an awkward part for me, but this is my full-time job. So if you could please put any tips in the hat if you enjoyed the tour, I'd really appreciate it. And I just looked at him and I went, mate, I think you owe me. And he went, what? And I was like, oh shit, did I say that out loud? And I was like, should I say something? Or should I just laugh it off and kind of joke around? Because I feel like if I don't say anything, then who will? And I think it's important that this guy adds this in the tour. I think it's an important piece. So I took a breath, I looked at the guy and I went, thank you so much for the tour today. Genuinely, Esther and I had such a lovely time, and I think you did such a good job. But if I'm going to be brutally honest, I think it's a little bit irresponsible for you to leave out all the pain that your ancestors caused my ancestors when you're telling the story of your country. And if you're going to tell the story of the country, you should tell the full picture, warts and all. And I actually think the only way we can move forward is for both of us to acknowledge that pain and both agree to never do that ever again to each other. And he just looked at me and he was like, oh my God, sir. Thank you so much for saying something. That's so brave of you. I appreciate that. Tell you what, I will add it into my tour, and I guarantee it will be there. You can even check my website. Thank you so much for saying something. I've got you. I'll add it. And I just said, thanks. And then Esther and I walked away. And I remember walking away feeling really proud of myself, that I stood up for myself and put my foot down and stood my ground. Psych, I said, gracias, senor, and then 20 euros in the hat. And got them, because I can't do confrontation, I told you, okay? But you guys fucking know now, you tell him. I'll give you his card after the show. I remember one morning in Spain, we were out for breakfast, and we ordered churros. And the churros come with this hot chocolate dip, right, they dip the churros into. I remember eating that, being like, oh my God, what is that? That's delicious. And I looked it up, and apparently that hot chocolate dip was called Champorado, right? And apparently Champorado was from Mexico. And Champorado came to the Philippines via Spain, via Mexico, via the trades, right? Which means Filipinos saw this chocolate dip and went, do you know what this needs? Rice and fish. And I love that about us. I do, because that means we took this shitty situation and we made the most of it. We made the most of it just enough to make this beautiful dish, the sweet and salty silver lining in the face of colonization. And I actually think this dish, Champorado, is very symbolic of how a lot of Filipinos operate in the world and treat life, right? Because not every moment in your life is going to be sweet. Some moments are going to be salty. But those salty moments only make the sweet moments that much better. Like, of course, it sucks that my parents aren't going to be around forever. And every time I think about that, it crushes me and breaks my heart so much. But it only means the moments I get to have with them now are that much sweeter, right? Because I get to have them. And I actually think Forrest Gump was wrong. I don't think life is like a box of chocolates. I think life is like a bowl of Champorado, right? Sometimes sweet, sometimes salty. And that's okay. You can have both. And I remember one morning when I was really anxious, I said that to myself. And had a little giggle, because, it's a little bit silly. But I genuinely started to feel better. And a lot of the fear and anxiety about my dad's illness started to melt away. And it was replaced with hope and optimism and this newfound energy to go out and spend as much time with the people I love while I still can right now. About a month after I got back to Toronto, I got a Facebook message from my dad. And the Facebook message said, I just got my test results. I'm all clear. I'm going to be okay. And I just remember feeling so relieved, when I got that message. It's like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. And so I said, I'm really glad you're still with us, Dad. I'll talk to you guys tonight. I love you. And he said, I'm glad too. Talk to you guys tonight. Love you. And then 5 seconds later, the same Facebook account said, Dad, can you pick me up from the mall? And I told my parents I was going to talk about this in the show. They were like, what do you mean? And I was like, well, I'm going to talk about how life is sweet and salty, and I learned this through what Dad went through inadvertently. I'm going to name the show this, after this dish, right? And my mom was like, that's perfect. And I was like, what do you mean? And my mom reminded me that when my dad was a little kid in the Philippines, he was really poor, right? So he spent a lot of time in the streets of Manila. And because he didn't have much, what he would do for fun was he would take clay and put it in a bowl, a stone bowl, and he'd crush the clay up, and he'd mix it in with water. and he would pretend to make Champorado in the bowl. And he would do that so often that all the neighborhood kids would gather, and they would then play restaurant. That was their game. So he'd serve them the little Champorado bowls, and he did that so often that he actually became known as Champorado in the neighborhood. And that name stuck with him all the way up in his early 20s when my mum met him playing basketball on the bench, but playing basketball with his knee-high socks and his Beatles haircut. That's how she knew him. She met him as Champorado, right? And when I heard that, I was like, that's too perfect. You know what I mean? Like, what are you guys going to tell me next? That you guys conceived me while eating a Champorado? Like, what? Like, what are you doing? But it was perfect, you know? Because it means that both me and my dad found comfort and solace in this food at one point or another in our lives. And no one can take that from us. And I think it's beautiful. And of course, I would never say I was glad that my dad got sick. Of course not. But I am glad that he inadvertently went through what he went through and gave me this new lesson and mantra in life that I can live by. And I was really grateful for that. And I wanted to thank him. So I found the perfect way to do it.
Champorado, wish I had known you more. Must have been sweet if you said I love you, but wala gyud. Don't know what's going on in your mind.
Dad, how much fish have we caught? How much fish have we caught so far?
One.
But how many fish did we catch? Not did Dari.
Nothing.
What are you watching, Dad? Wait. Is that live?
Come up right now.
I wish it's always birthdays and anniversaries, so I could hear of your sentiments. You make me laugh and cry, thinking about you.
Thank you guys so much for coming to the show, Melbourne. Thank you.